What are common examples of domestic violence leading to neglect by DCF in Massachusetts? These are true stories involving a mother who came home one night after being out drinking, and she wanted to take her children with her to her mother's house, still intoxicated, the next morning. The father stepped in and said, "No, you're not going to do that." And the mother says, "Why not?" He said, "Because you are still intoxicated, and I'm not putting my children in harm's way." Well, the police were called, and the police came, and the police saw the mother was intoxicated and completely sided with the father. Yet, a week later, the mother told her story, of course sober, and tried to say how the father had been physical with her because she fell down the stairs and hurt herself. No one's fault but mother's, unfortunately, because she was intoxicated. But she tried to turn a negative into a positive by utilizing the restraining order hearing, which she attended, to try and turn this around against the father. The judge, much to her credit, read the police report and questioned the parties and determined that there was no domestic violence by the father, and that the police had said that the mother was intoxicated and she was the protagonist. However, during the DCF investigation, mother told DCF a complete different story, which DCF unfortunately bought hook, line, and sinker. After this, the client had to apply for and got a fair hearing. And at the fair hearing, all the testimony came out, including the tapes which were transcribed at the restraining order hearing, showing that DCF, who had not attended the DCF, showed that DCF had not attended the restraining order, and how the judge had called out the mother saying that she basically hadn't told the truth at the restraining order hearing, and dismissed the restraining order against the father that was filed by the mother, clearly indicating that the charges that were supported by DCF were bogus, false, and baseless. Now, in another case, a father had beat up his wife, and the baby was sleeping in another room. And yet no police were ever called, but the father tried to state that the mother was also the aggressor by filming her and making up a false narrative. When the mother went to get a restraining order, much to the credit of the judge, who had many years of experience with domestic violence and DCF, ruled against the father, not once, not twice, but 3 separate times. And the mother was found to be the victim in this circumstances, and that the baby who was in the other room was asleep with a fan and music playing, never saw nor heard the conduct and behavior of the father victimizing the mother. So there was no neglect allegations against the mother, who was the victim in this case. But in other cases, we had a situation where the father came home, he had been drinking, he went to grab his wife's phone, and the wife resisted, and the father and the mother got into a tugging contest, and the oldest child, who was down in the basement, and this incident was taking place on the 3rd floor between the parents, could hear the parents, their verbal, raised voices, which was very disturbing to the children. When DCF heard of these stories, they put an allegation of neglect against the father for trying to take the mother's cell phone and grabbing his cell phone, and found that there was domestic violence. Now, this was based upon the children hearing the event, repeating back what they heard, and that it had a negative impact on the children. Now, the father filed for a fair hearing, but there was no way that his father could win or be successful at a fair hearing based upon the statements by the children involved in a domestic violence situation between him and his wife. If you like this video, please share it with someone that you know that's in trouble, has issues, or legal challenges with DCF. Thank you.